Welcome back to News Diary. I want us to now go to Spice FM with Dr. Esther Thara Moria. She is the PS for Technical, Vocational, Educational and Training. Of course, that is TVET. They're discussing how the new funding model will impact the TVET curriculum in Kenya. Let's listen in.
It's a subsidiary of CFAO Motors, formerly known as Toyota Kenya and other companies. And this automark was formerly known as Toyotsu, still where Toyotsu used to be. They are there. Go there, go find very good vehicles. And also you can take your current vehicle for some checks. They have very, very good workshop there. Their mechanics are well trained. They will do some checks for you and tell you, this car, good to go, or this car, we can improve. Now, when you talk about TVET, Ndu, what does TVET stand for?
There's vocational,
yes,
technical,
yes,
there's education,
yes, and there's training.
Yes.
Okay. In the correct order, it's technical, vocational, education, and training.
Yes.
Okay. The principal secretary in the State Department for Technical, Vocational, Education, and Training is Dr. Esther Thara Moria. She's our guest this morning in the Situation Room. Good morning, PS.
Good morning, Eric.
Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you.
That's the hot seat of the Situation Room. Make yourself comfortable. Very good. Very good. CT, the PS is now comfortable. Please give her the day's proverb. This week's proverbs are from?
Our proverbs for the whole of this week are from the country of Burkina Faso. Yes, we determined that, or rather I determined on behalf of my colleagues that the next few weeks our proverbs will be from West Africa. What caught my attention about West Africa is they seem to have revived a culture that we thought we were moving out of, coup d'etats. And so I thought perhaps if we look at their proverbs, we may get to understand a little bit about how it is that they think. Today's proverb: even if you do not like the hare, recognize its speed.
PS, do you get which hair he's talking about?
The rabbit.
Yeah, that was 10 out of 10.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Even if you don't recognize, you don't
Like the rabbit, recognize
the
its
speed.
Yes.
What do you think this proverb is talking about?
I think that there is something good about every body and every situation. You may not like the fact that I am black, but recognize the fact that I am still beautiful.
Apo.
Way. Or it can be the other way around.
Yes.
You may not like the fact that I am beautiful. But recognize the fact that I am black.
Well, turn it around the way you like.
That's a good one. That's a good one. You like it? The State Department for TVET. What is your mandate?
Thank you very much, Eric and Ndu, for having me here this morning.
And CT.
And CT, the proverbs guy.
Yes.
Sorry.
The PS was my day. I knew you were getting there.
It's coming slowly.
Pole too. Right. You first introduce these lesser beings, then
before we get to the main guy.
Yes.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a mandate being at the top of TVET now, and my mandate is to skill the youth in this country. And as we get to the next level of development, we need the skills. We need to skill our youth so that we leverage on that skill as we go from the bottom to the top. And we are going there under the tutorage of His Excellency President Ruto, and we need the skills. That's my mandate. Yes.
We'll talk about TVET. Please define it. There's the Technical Vocational Education and Training, that's at national level. And then there's what formerly used to be called Rural Polytechnic, which of course has a different name now. So what are TVETs? What are universities? What are the other polytechnics?
TVETs basically are all those what you are calling the polytechnics, what you are calling them. You are just levelizing them. But TVETs is where we are to train the skills, like I've already said. So we are in the technical space where we are saying we want the young people to acquire skills, to acquire the technical training. And when we talk vocational, we are talking about those other skills still, but which we may teach or we may acquire at a lower level. All right, vocational, where we are talking about the plumbers, the lower skills, all right, before they climb up to other levels of more complicated skilling of the youth. You know, Eric, we do not all have the same abilities.
Yep.
So there are those who will go for the lesser skills, which we are talking the vocational training, and there are those who will go all the way to the diploma and the degree levels, which we may now call the technical skills. But whether at the vocational or at the top level 6, which is a diploma, we are talking about skills. We are talking about training our youth to be able to do, and that is what my mandate is.
How many students are in TVETs as we speak today?
Right now, we could average them at 350,000. And more coming. Yes.
Okay. I'm looking at then what happens after this training, and maybe that is what then fuels this current action. That there is a small or a lesser percentage of skilled workers in the society, and the need to then have these workers across board skilled then outweighs the numbers that we see. Because when you look at things like somebody who paints,
yes,
and I'm not talking about artistic paint, I'm talking about painting buildings, nobody would think that there was a science to it. Nobody would think that there was a science to masonry or plumbing or dressmaking or these other things. But we kind of gloss over them because we don't see the importance of actually skilling individuals to enter into the workforce. If we look at other countries, those things are highly regarded, and you will pay a lot of money to get somebody to do that thing for you. So are we looking at making sure that this group of individuals who go through this technical and or vocational training actually come out so that they can enter into a workforce that actually requires them to be properly skilled and not just your learn on the job kind of thing?
Yes, Ndu. That is what we are looking at. When I have come into this space, my first assignment has been to recraft the curricula so that the curricula is it. The curricula is what is going to ensure that the person graduating at the end of the day is a person who is so well grounded on what they are doing that they are good locally, regionally, and internationally. So we are now on the first lane recrafting the curricula, and we are also recrafting and retooling our trainers. Those are my first 2 jobs that I am working on getting done, because we want a person to get into a space where we have organized what they are going to go through so well that they will go through it stage by stage. Where we are saying, for instance, this is one of my favorites, so I have talked about it so many times. If we are talking about training people at level 6 in building and civil engineering, we have split the curricula, or we are splitting the curricula because we still haven't finished, so that we start you in training, for example, in gypsum technology, and we keep you there according to our new curricula to a time that we are confident that even if you just did gypsum technology and went away, you are so good either in this country or elsewhere. Then we will take you to another area of building, civil and building technology, and another, so that we can even graduate you at a micro level where you'll have done maybe 3 competencies, and that means that you are well competent in that area. And another thing we are doing, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are bringing in industry into our institutions. So we are forming what we are calling industry advisory boards. All right, so that even as we craft this curricula, we are asking the industry, how can we do this? How best can we do this? All right, so that we will be sure at the end of the day that when we train you, whether I said at a micro level where you can do 3 competencies and maybe graduate, or at a medium level where you can do many more, or at the top level where we are talking now about level 6, okay, that is diploma. All right, so we are changing the curricula so that we craft you at every level. We make sure you are competent at every level. And again, we are retooling our trainers. We are retraining our trainers with industry so that this industry is also able to tell us this is what is happening in industry as far as this competency is concerned. So that at the end of the day, we have a person who is very well crafted.
This indicates that you've identified a gap.
Yes.
A gap in the trainers versus what the industry needs.
Yes.
The trainers versus what they are training, and the curriculum as well versus what the industry needs. Why was there a gap?
Eric, issues will always be there. There was a gap because when the TVET curriculum was first crafted, it needed, you know, curricula changes.
Yep.
Curriculum changes from time to time. So there was a gap because this curricula had not been redone. You know, curricula is supposed to be, where I come from, the university, we used to redo the curricula after every 4-5 years, all right? So the gap here is that the curricula had not been revised.
In how long?
I am not very sure. Let me not commit myself to that. But whatever the time frame, what I recognized is that we needed to redo this curricula to the extent that we are especially able to train every trainee into a competent person, much more than even the period that the curricula had been there. What my interest is that we redo this curricula in such a way that we are able to skill each and everyone to the best that we can be able to do.
Which unit is responsible for curricular development at TVET level?
CDAC. We have what you call curriculum development, assessment, and certification council. Okay. That is our curriculum development body, and it is also going to assess and certify my students.
I'm pushing this so that we get to a point where we say, now that Dr. Moria has come in and said, let's review our curriculum, there will be a plan that even if you exit this state department, there will be periodic reviews of our curricula, periodic retraining of the trainers.
Absolutely.
And if we don't look at what made it not happen, then what are we fixing?
We are fixing CDAC. We have fixed CDAC. CDAC is back in place. The coming back of CDAC is a presidential directive as well as the recommendation of the Presidential Working Party on education reforms. And what they have recommended, as well as, you know, this TVET is basically the president's baby. And he, even before the Presidential Working Party finished its work, the president had already put out the directive that CDAC must come back as the curriculum development body, assessment and certification, so that body, like all bodies like NEC, like all these other examination bodies, you know, is properly put in place so that it is, like you have said, Eric, it's not the time frame of Esther Moria or Eric or Ndu. It is about continuity. So we have put CDAC in place. There is a CEO in place now. There is the council in place now, and we are doing everything else to ensure that CDAC is probably in place for posterity.
Dr. Moria, talk about some of the recommendations of the proposals by the Presidential Working Party. They were very broad on TVET, but one thing that they did say very clearly was that there would be linkages between TVET, industry, and government projects. Essentially, that we're making sure that these folks are trained, looking at the 350,000 of them, for example. So put that on one side. And then there are certain things that are going on in government, in industry. There are projects, there are things all over the country, from county to county to county, that in a lot of cases will bring in foreign consultants. They will bring in foreign practitioners. They will bring in foreign companies to do the brick and mortar. Essentially, what we're saying now is that these TVETs will train individuals to then come into the industry for the current need of government and to actually get those projects running. So essentially what we're seeing is that the bringing in of foreign work, the bringing in of companies from other countries will cease, because Kenya will now have a skilled workforce that will be able to do some of these development projects that the government is putting into place. That was one of the proposals. Would the department be ready to carry that on?
We are doing that, Ndu, unequivocally. We have the KIPES, that is the county aggregated industrial parks. We have the affordable housing projects, and we have all these infrastructural development projects that the government is undertaking. What we have agreed, or what we are doing, is that we are linking our TVET institutions to the nearest affordable housing project somewhere. For example, the affordable housing project in Roiro, we are linking them, or we have linked them to our institution in Gatondo, to our institution in Thika, so that our students are able to be the working on those projects, so that that project is part of the industry where they are training. That we have done. And we are also going to do that with KIPES, all right? Right now, on Monday, I think Monday or Friday, there was an advert on the paper about a huge government road project that is happening along the coast. And what the Ministry of Roads has done, actually I was supposed to have this conversation yesterday with the PS Roads, only he got too busy, is that they have advertised for our students to apply for the opportunities in that project, okay? But whether they apply or not, and this is the conversation I am going to have with the PS, our institutions at the coast we are going to have an agreement where our students will be on that project, that infrastructure. They're doing a big road project. I'm forgetting it's from, I don't know where to where, but it's a huge one. And our students are going to be there, so that also forms part of the industry where they are going to train. Because what I must tell you with no iota of divergence is that we want to have our students training 70% in industry, 70%. So that only 30% they are in our institutions doing some theory, but 70% they need to be in industry. So all these KIPES, affordable housing, infrastructure, the huge road project that we're going to do, our students are going to be there. Not just our students, but all these hustlers, all these young people, they are going to be on these projects, and we are coming in as a department with what we call the RPL, recognition of prior learning. All right, so that my trainers will be on site to keep checking what these people are doing, and we are going to have master trainers on the projects, so that